welcome back to another episode of the Garment Decorators Podcast. Andy and I are very excited this week to be joined by Nick from NPW Printing, and it has been a while since we've had a customer on the podcast. We've had our friends over in the US on, we've had a few partners on, but we haven't had an actual heat printer for quite a while. So thanks for joining us, Nick. It's great to have you.
You're more than welcome. It's lovely to be on board.
So for those of our listeners that are, we try and have as many customers on as possible this podcast to just give everybody a bit of an insight into what it's like to be a heat printer, how everyone runs their business. So do you want to just give everyone a little bit of an introduction as to who you are, your business, how it started and that kind of thing?
Yeah, how long have you got? I'll start from the beginning. So myself and my wife, we run a performing arts school, as well as this. This is a bit of a side hustle, really. Well, it started as a bit of a side hustle. It's certainly not that anymore. It's certainly a 5-day a week kind of job, which is great. But it just means that everything with the performing arts school is being run by Hannah, so that I can focus on this and the demands of the printing business. So obviously COVID came along. We were, doing really well with the schools and stuff like that. And we used to outsource having our students' names put on the back of their T-shirts. My mother-in-law during COVID got herself a cricket or a cry cut, whatever you want to call them. Me being me, went round, oh, what's this new toy you've got? So, having a look at it. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then it kind of went from there. So started playing around with her machine, just, when we were able to see each other. And then I started thinking, there's a potentially a decent profit margin here, just doing our students' names on the back of the kids' T-shirts. We were paying £3 a name to have put on the back of a T-shirt. And then, I was thinking, I'll just look into it. I just, Googled vinyl or whatever. And I can't remember the first company I used that provided me with the vinyl, but it was like, £7 something a meter. And I was like, I can get like 20 names on a meter of vinyl here. I'm missing out on a bit of a winner here. So then that's when it started. I got myself a little vinyl cutter, not this one here, but just one I found on eBay, I think it was. Thought, I'll give it a go. Got a naff heat press off eBay, started doing it, playing around with that. And then it grew from there. I was like, I was getting however many orders a week for the kids' names on the back. And then I started, exploring the business a bit more. Came across yourselves on, I think it was Facebook, you popped up on however many times that I saw. I was like, I'm going to check you guys out. And then, because I think at the time, the video that I saw on Facebook was just for the custom prints, which at the time I wasn't really needing, because it was just lettering and stuff that I was doing, and it was, more cost effective to do it with the vinyl. So found you guys, and then noticed that you sold the HTV, and then grew from there, really. Once I got into the routine of being able to print names and stuff on T-shirts, I then expanded out, because the performing arts school that we work for that we own is part of a larger franchise, which is all over the world. So I reached out to other principals within our network, and said, hey, look, I'm going to look at offering this service. And then loads of people jumped on board. So I was then doing kids, between me and Hannah, we've got 500 students alone. So then on top of that, I was then reaching out to other principals and saying, look, do you want me to put your kids' names on the back of your T-shirts? And then that boomed. And then I got in touch with our head office for the Performing Arts School and said, look, this is a really popular thing. How can I get involved and do more offerings? Because we have our sole distributor for the garments that we have to buy our kids' uniform from for that. So I've then very recently been approved as an approved supplier for the Performing Arts School to be able to do workshop t-shirts. So like whenever we do like summer holiday camps and stuff like that, I'm currently the only producer of those t-shirts to produce that for the big network that we work in. So that's where it is really. So at this moment in time, I don't do any advertising just because it's just me and I don't have time to take on anything else. However, we did one thing we did start back in when's the roadshow? Where did we meet you? Is it February? The Birmingham?
Yeah, February. Yeah, in Birmingham.
So, well, back in Birmingham, we sent out on a mission to get an embroidery machine, which is what you can see behind me. So we started doing embroidery back in February, as well as personalizing garments, printing, custom prints as well. So yeah, that's where we're at, really. That's how it all evolved and how it started, and yeah.
Not look back.
Next.
So I just want to kind of maybe go back a few stages, Zach.
Yeah, sure.
How did you get started with the theatre school? Is that something that's always been a passion of yours, theatre?
Yeah, so I went to. Am I allowed to mention the Performing Arts School that I work for?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was.
So Stagecoach Performing Arts is the company that we own, and I went to Stagecoach as a kid myself. So I was a student at the Sheffield School for I think it was about 11 years. And then I went to drama school down in Guildford, where I then started teaching for a Stagecoach in the area. And then from that, I then came back up to my roots back in Sheffield in the Yorkshire area, and started teaching for a school in Doncaster. And then that came up for sale. The principal was ready to move on. So I purchased that and then grew our territory. And then from there, I then own Doncaster, Rotherham, Sheffield South East. We've also got a school over in Beverley, and my wife owns a franchise in Barnsley. So we've got schools all over the place, which is how it all started, really. So yeah, I went to drama school, trained as an actor, and that's
the reason I'm asking, absolutely, any detail is always welcome. So please don't feel free to add as much as you want. Is that
sure? Something
that we speak about a lot on here is authenticity.
Yeah,
finding your niche or niches and sticking
to
of
course.
Obviously, I kind of assumed, because I didn't get to meet you personally at Printwear Promotion. I only heard lovely feedback from Molly and Beth. Is that you are probably very good to work with with the other theatre schools because you have your own school. You really care about it.
Of course.
You wouldn't give them some. You wouldn't be proud for your students to go out there and about.
Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't send out garments and stuff for other principals if it wasn't something that I would do myself and put my kids in. Yeah, for sure.
So I kind of, my assumption is, because it's quite a fun industry that you're in, quite entertaining by its nature, is that presumably that's quite rewarding as a printer, because I imagine you get to work on quite interesting projects. I've seen some of your work going through, and I'm not sure which ones you are and aren't allowed to talk about, so I didn't want to assume there. But it would seem to me that actually getting to print these productions and seeing people's faces when they get to wear these to go off to their productions is probably quite rewarding.
Definitely. Well, as well as doing this, and the other thing, I'm also a sound engineer, so I go and work in theatres as well and do the production side as well. So there was a show that I did for some Stagecoach schools down in Greenwich, I think it was, in November, and they did a big show called Motivate, and I did all their t-shirts for that. And then I then went and produced the sound and did the sound design and stuff for that. So I got to not only see the t-shirts from the very beginning, produce them, but then also went to see them on the stage in all their glory, which was really nice.
Yeah,
it's like full circle. That's really cool.
Definitely. But I think my biggest, I don't want to say claim to fame, but my biggest job for theatre was when I did the Great British Bake Off musical on the West End. some students that, again, through Stagecoach, some of the students were in there in the show, and they reached out to their principal and said, do you know anybody that does garment printing and stuff? So yeah, I got that contact, and then ended up doing the cast and crew jumpers for the Great British Bake Off musical, which featured your custom prints, but also your HTV glitter vinyl. So yeah, that's probably my biggest job, and probably my most exciting one. So yeah.
How do you find it? Because obviously, you've been in the theatre industry for pretty much your whole life.
Yeah.
The garment industry is there's some overlap all the time, obviously. But how did you find the conversations when you went to the other principals to start having these conversations about, I'm doing this, can I do it for you? Was it nervous? I know you're a northerner, right? These conversations are a little bit more free-flowing for you, but how did you approach that and trying to get that extra business coming in?
Yeah, well, it was just on social media, really. We've got a Facebook platform, a group that we have online that all the majority of the principals are in. So I just put a post out saying, hey, look, I'm able to offer this service. And a lot of principals was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Because what I was able to do is they were able to order with me. I would then order the garments that we have to use from our head office approved supplier for the t-shirts that are already branded up with Stagecoach on. And then I would then order them in, personalize them, and then send them to the principal. Whereas what principals were having to do is they were having to order the t-shirts, then they'd have to drive to a local printer or whatever, get them done, wait however many weeks for that to be turned around, go back and pick them up, come back, sort them all out, and then distribute. So this way it meant that it cut out that them having to drive to the local printer to do it. But also we've now recently, in the last 6 to 8 months, I've created an online shop where parents can come direct and order, so that it cuts out that job for the principal completely, minimizing their admin time. And there's an awful lot of admin that comes, with being a principal of a theatre school. So the principals were happy to jump on that to relieve anything that is going to make their jobs and lives much easier. So it was a breeze. Easy peasy.
It's nice. It's always nice for people to be able to work with someone they trust as well. I mean, I think the printing industry, in all aspects of it, there's still kind of a localized part of it, but your network is even if it's spread across the country, it's still a localized network because it's within the Stagecoach principles. But I think it's always nice for people to know the person that's printing the products.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and when we have a conference once a year, and I'm always hounded by people. Hey, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? It's like, yeah, sure. So that's always nice to meet new potential customers at the end of the day.
Well, that leads me nicely on to my next question, because when I was going through your Facebook pages to see what you've been up to recently, there was actually some quite tricky projects that you do as well, which I wanted to talk to you about, because I saw there was one you did some tracksuits for a production of 6.
Yes.
Which looked like they were almost like glitter onto like a velour type.
Yeah, so that was that was like a velour tracksuit. That was actually one of my schools. We did 16 edition back in early December, and with 6, with the rights for 6, they're very strict with what you can and can't do with terms of costumes. And one of the things is that we can't be seen to be copying the West End version or the touring version of the costume. So we thought, right, let's do something completely different than what is out there at the minute. So yeah, we went for like a 90s kind of like Spice Girl kind of esque tracksuit, which is what we went for. Yeah, so I got the velour tracksuits online, and then we did like a bejeweled, it was like a bejazzled-y type thing for their name on the back, and then down the arm, it was just the silver glitter HTV. Yeah, we love glitter. We absolutely love glitter here at NPW. It's by far the most thing that I get from yourselves.
Something like that is probably would be a bit intimidating to most people, though. So I'm going to go out on an assumption that you're quite used to trying to break things and figure things out. How things work.
I was like, is this going to work? Because with it being velour, it's got that, it's not like a smooth textile, yeah. So I was like, it might work, it might not, just went for it and it worked. So I was like, oh great, happy days, let's do it. And it stuck. It did really nicely, actually. Even the bejazzly jewelry things, they stuck really nice. I've not washed them yet, so I don't know how they'll wash. But yeah, no, the glitter went on really, really nice, and it works really well. I actually used some glitter on a principal asked me to make. They wanted a blanket, for one of their teachers that was leaving. I completely forgot to take some pictures of it, actually. But yeah, so it was like a blanket, and they wanted, because the principals that love everything shiny, they wanted glitter vinyl putting on it. And I was like, it's because that was, a good mil or so deep. I was like, I don't know how this is going to adhere, but hey, I'll give it a go, and if it comes off, then sorry, but yeah, I've given you the warning. But yeah, so I did that around the edge. I embroidered the logo in the corners, but then around the edge I did lots of little things in text and stuff, which was maybe 30 mil in height, and it did quite well. It looked amazing. It didn't feel great to touch because it moved around a bit, but as far as I'm aware, it's I don't know whether they've been given to the leaving teacher, but as far as I'm aware, they liked it. So
brilliant. Well, and that's part of the thing we always say this with vinyl is you have to try and test it for yourself, because it's the only way you can find the limitations. And sometimes you're like, well, actually, that was way easier than I realized. I'm going to push it even further.
Yeah, definitely. I seem to have an issue. And I've stopped doing this now, is where people bring me their garments. So somebody, I don't know, family friend says, here, can you embroider or can you print something on this t-shirt? I say, yeah, sure, bring it over. And for some reason, whenever somebody else has given me the garment, it always goes wrong. So from now on, I'm like, no, I will get the garment, because then if it goes wrong, I can get another one. But yeah, I'm always happy. I've got a massive box full of different materials and stuff that I try different things on before I go straight onto the garment.
I think that's some wise advice, because that's the thing. You don't know where these products have come from. Exactly. You don't know how cheap they probably come from, like Amazon or eBay or somewhere for 50p or like a Sainsbury's pack of 3, and they're like, yeah, that's it's a t-shirt. It's not just a t-shirt, because whenever they're the bigger, the blanks companies in the UK and everywhere, really, they're always thinking about how they can be printed before they even get to the purchase.
Exactly. And I sometimes find as well that when we do get the blanks and stuff from the wholesalers, I don't know whether they go through a different process, from in the warehouse in terms of like their wash that they'll probably go through. Because sometimes I found if you bought stuff from, say, Asda or any other supermarket, that the garments, I find that I'm guessing that they've been finished in a way so that they look great from the off. And I don't know whether they're washed with like some form of like a conditioner or something. But when I've then pressed and stuff on those, or on garments, like you say, that have been brought from, from a customer's point of view, they don't seem to press and as well as blanks that we get from the wholesaler that are designed for that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. You see levels of quality even amongst the blanks companies as well. I find that it's always worth paying sometimes, even if it's just like 10p extra, just to get it from a slightly better company, because you don't want to then have to. It's good to try and break things when it comes to like new things, but your kind of core products, you don't want to be having to test and figure things out with, because you're like, no, these are the ones I just need to press. Because I've got to get them out the door, because it's not good to have them just sitting on a shelf in here.
No, exactly. And I usually find as well how I get my new garments in is I usually do it if, for instance, with the supplier that I use, you've got to spend, what is it, 100 quid to get free delivery. So if I'm like, I don't know what, 10, 20 quid off, if I'm just doing a quick run, then I'll usually I'll look through the catalogue and try and find a new item that I might not have used before. Or if I think, I could do with a new jumper or whatever, I'll try and find something that I've not used, just so that I can, expand my knowledge base, really.
So how do you go about finding, obviously I know there's some products you have to have sourced to you because they're pre-approved, but things like, there's obviously I think there's 60 glitter colors and there's 80 sweatshirt colors potentially on a lot of ranges. How do you go about narrowing that down? Because I imagine, especially your audience where they want the sparkly stuff.
Yeah. Well, I have this. This is my Bible. This is my Bible, and this is at the front. The glitter is at the front. So yeah, I've got a couple of these that I will either post out to customers, or I'll take them with me, and I say, look, this is your Aladdin's cave. Pick it, go for it, and well, it also depends on the job that we're doing, really. I've got a school that I'm working on at the minute. I'll grab it and I'll show you. Where is it?
Anyone that's listening, Nick was presenting us with his Styles colour card as his Bible.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm working on a job for Stagecoach Ascot, and their older students are doing Frozen Junior this weekend. So they've asked me to do some cast t-shirts for them. So we've gone for some frozen tops here. I don't know whether you can see it. I'm trying to get rid of the light. So we've gone for that. And this is so I always try and think of, the show that they're doing and try and find colours that are either in the original or that represent colours that are from that show. So obviously Frozen, we've gone for a greeny bluey kind of colour, glitter, of course. And then we're going to put that on a black t-shirt because it'll really pop and really stand out. But the colours of the garments are usually prescribed by the customer, I find. And then I will then say, look, this will work well. This won't, this might clash, or it'll not stand out, that kind of thing.
I guess that comes back around to the authenticity again, is that you although there's 60 products, you probably know before you go into that meeting, it's down to 2.
Yeah.
Before you go, because the productions, what they're going to want. So even if you put it in front of them all, they're well, sometimes I might be I don't know what to pick. You'll be here's 3, and you give one that's terrible, they won't pick.
Yeah.
I know this will work because I know the product. I know what's going to look good on a black t-shirt.
Can you imagine Nick's face if it was the other way around? If he went into a meeting and they were I want red for Frozen, he'd be no.
It's supposed to be cold, not hot. But I also find I'm also quite clever at saying, no, you need to use this color because this one potentially might not work as well due to if I know what kind of things they're going to be wanting, if it's quite a bit of text that they're going to be wanting, I know that there is a few of the glitter vinyls that don't weed as well as the others. The gold glitter is a dream to weed. It's so easy, and I go through meters and meters of that, just because of how easy it is to because we use the you can see it in the back. We've got the easy weeding table in the back there as well, and that really works well when it's warmed up. And so if I know if it's a color that I've used before that doesn't weed as nicely, I'll try and steer them away from that as well.
It's good. You've got quite nice. Could you give us a little bit of a studio tour?
Yeah,
sure. I'd love to know what you've got going on there.
So I've got our heat press, autoclave heat press, and then we've got the Graphtec vinyl cutter. And then here we've got the Easy Weed table, which is on an up and down electric table. That's all. That's my sample bin under there. And then over here we've got, this is where I store all of the garments that come from our Stagecoach head office supplier. And then behind me I've got the 20 thread embroidery machine, And then up here we've got some vinyls on the wall, and then underneath you can't really. I might be able to pull it out to show you, but under here is where we store most of the vinyls.
Yeah,
stuff down here.
Lovely. Yeah, so Nick, is that the auto open you've got there? 40? Is that 40?
It's not the Hottronics one. No, it's that is actually on my next purchase
wish list.
But I think I'd probably want the is it the 360 one? I think it's called, isn't it?
For the hats.
No, so maybe not 360 then. What's
the IQ with
the IQ?
Yeah. Because imagine, because especially when you're doing the names, actually being able to pull it out and get away from the heat is probably quite a good thing, I'd imagine. Isn't it?
This one's got a drawer, the pull-out drawer on it as well, which is nice. But I think my next purchase is definitely going to be one of the Hottronics, the Fusion one. You know, the ones with the screens on. I can't remember which one it is. It's called. I'd love one of the the ones that. One of them,
the magic
dual
ones.
Fusion.
That'd be wicked, but I definitely can't fit it in here. But next house, you never know. Next house, double garage we're getting. So
okay.
Oh, there's room in there for 2 jewelers.
Yeah.
Put some 3-phase in there for you before you move in.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a nice compact. Everything's where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to see that you've got a bit of glitter on, a bit of that, some green or some.
On
tell what the colour is behind.
It's glitter vinyl. It's for the
frozen one.
Ready to be weeded. That's just finished cutting. Yeah, so we're ready to go.
And do you have a favourite glitter for yourself, like as a personal favourite?
I really like the where is it? This one, the Halo White. The Halo White that goes on nice stuff. But like I said, the gold is a big winner. We go through a lot of that.
Yeah, that's brilliant. One of the other things I was curious about that I thought was really good from your website is that you do have the option to offer in other services as well. You do other print things, so you can kind of offer a bit more of a full solution for your customers as well, by the looks of it.
Yeah, so certainly with the theatre school things, we work with another supplier for dance shoes, so that principals can come direct to me and have a bit of a one-stop shop. They can we can outsource the jazz shoes and the ballet shoes and all that kind of thing for them. So yeah, that's certainly a good way of getting that extra bit of revenue in for that.
But it's good as well that it means that you're also, again, you're taking friction out of all your customers all the time, though, because as well as having your website so it's easy ordering for the parents, you're then also adding in like, okay, well, I found the supplier. Let's put it out to everyone so that everyone's life is easier. Because my assumption is that a bit like when we always talk about how we try and make everyone's life easier so you can do sales and marketing. But I imagine for you and a lot of your sort of colleagues is actually the most important thing is probably like I need to be writing songs or designing.
Or just working out which teachers are coming in this week, which ones are off sick, all that kind of thing. Yeah. What parents whinging about what?
Yeah.
Little Jimmy's forgotten his T-shirt or he's left his water bottle at the school. Can you find it? Yeah. That's one thing. Kids and these water bottles, the air up water bottles, they're like, if a kid leaves one of them, it's unbelievable how many messages, phone calls, emails we get until we respond to say, yes, we've found it, or no, we haven't. It's as if they've lost like a mobile phone.
So what productions are you working on at the moment? That's what I'd like to hear as well. It's like, it's off topic entirely, but I'm always curious how, as a director of your school, how do you decide which shows to put on? And is there a process there? And do you get
so I've been a principal since 2016 now. So we've gone through quite a few shows. So as it is at the minute for picking what we're working on next, like we always try and have a big show term, which is what we're just in now. We're doing Elf the musical at the minute. And that's actually another thing that we've found as well with having this printing business as well, is we're able to make a lot of the costumes ourselves. Like for instance, our middle-age group, which are called the Stage 2s, in Elf the musical, they were shoppers in the Macy's scenes. They worked in the office and all that kind of thing. So we made them. We found some. I think it was the. Is it AWIDS? They do a college brand, don't they?
Yeah,
I think so. We got them, which was like a V-neck kind of jumper, and we just printed a Christmas design on it. So and then just pressed that on, and that was their costume sorted, which was really good. And then so we're doing Elf at the minute. We've just done 6 with our older ones. And then next term, we're going into what we call our skills term, which is the term where we don't really put on a big production. It's the term where we really focus on them learning the craft. And then the following term, we're going to do a big festival again. So we did a big festival last year, and we're going to be doing that again in July. So we'll be making loads of T-shirts ready for that, which will be exciting.
Yeah. And do you have a dream production that you've always wanted to put on that you never had the chance to?
Well, I'm a massive fan of Les Mis.
Okay.
That's my longest running, favorite musical. I would love to be in it. I never will be in it because they'll never release even the amateur rights for adults to do it while ever it's still on the West End and touring. There is a kids version of it, but our kids' age is from 4 to 18. So to be able to do Les Mis, we'd need a good, strong cast of at least 16 plus, age 16 plus. And our older ones, we've not got enough to do a big production like that. But, one day, who knows? That would be fab. I'd love to put that on.
Or you could make the most of all the black and the monotone glitters at that stage, couldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or maybe it'll probably have to be more of the premium plus as opposed to the glitter.
Yes, very good point. Or both.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it hard? Obviously, you have the. Do you still get the chance to perform yourself much as well these days?
Well, not really. I'm just too busy. I'd love to. I'd love to. I absolutely love it. But yeah, I'm just too busy. I think the last show I did was 2015. So. And
if anyone would like to go, obviously, if anyone would like to find you, it's NPW Printing. So
yeah,
anyone that's that's in theatre, that's like, I need to get stuff done.
Yeah, like amateur dramatic societies. We've done garments for local amateur dramatic societies. They did a big production of Shrek at a nearby theatre in Rotherham, I think it was. So we did all their cast and crew T-shirts and hoodies and stuff, which was great. So yeah. Amateur dramatic societies, theatre schools that need new uniform. We do work with a couple of other local performing arts schools as well as just Stagecoach. So yeah, reach out.
Or if you want glitter finishes, go to.
Oh yeah, expert. If you need glitter, come to me. Yeah.
And if anyone would like to go watch any of your productions, how would they go and find out the shows?
Yeah, so with that, it's a lot of our productions are usually due to child protection. We have to, and usually with the licensing as well. We and with the license that we hold for the children to be able to perform, we're not usually allowed to advertise out to the general public. But if we ever did do anything that was on sale for the general public, just on our Facebook would probably be where we would advertise it. Yeah.
Presumably, if you have a child that you want to get into theatre, just look for your local Stagecoach company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just stagecoach.co.uk. Put your postcode in, and it'll show you the nearest one.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That was really interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed, listening to majority of Andy's questions, but that was fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to come onto the podcast today, Nick. I'm so glad that we finally managed to get the day in the diary to record this.
Definitely.
So thank you very much to everybody for watching, viewing, listening, and subscribing. Don't forget to subscribe on whatever platform you are watching on, and we'll be back next Monday with another Garment Decorators podcast episode.